Mic check. Vicki, are we ready to go?
Yes, Mayor, I'm ready.
All right, I'd like to call order the regular city council meeting October 7th, 2024, 6 o'clock p.m. Madam Secretary, do we have a quorum?
Yes, Mayor, we do.
Next, please.
Invocation given by Councilmember Lance Megacy, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the American and Texas flags.
Please rise.
Please pray with me. Father God, we come before you tonight to do the city's business. Lord, I just ask that you would give us each at this dais wisdom to make decisions appropriately for the citizens of our city. Father, we thank you for our first responders. We thank you for the city staff and everything that they do for us. Father, we thank you that you continue to protect and watch over each and every single one of them. Father, we stop and we remember those citizens in our country who are affected by these hurricanes. Lord, we just ask that you would watch over and protect the first responders that react to these situations. Father, for those that have loss of life and damage and their lives flipped upside down, Father God, we just ask that you would give them peace and that you would give them strength to get through this, Father God. And we just give you praise for it. In the name of your Son, Jesus, I ask this. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. Okay, next on the agenda, real quickly, I'll have our new city attorney introduce herself.
It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I'm from the law firm of Messer Fort, and we'll be working with y'all for the foreseeable future, and look forward to meeting all of y'all and getting to know you better.
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Next, please.
Next will be Agenda Item 3A, Toys for Tots Proclamation.
All right, you want to come up, please? Why try to fix your proclamation?
See if I can do this. Good evening, Mayor Billings and the Fayette City Council. My name is Sean DeMoe, and I have the privilege today to represent Rockwall Toys for Tots and the Gunner Randolph Detachment of Marines of 1465. I want to thank you and the citizens of Fayette for contributing to the success of the 2024 Toys for Tots campaign. We would like to invite the leadership and the citizens of Fayette to our culminating event at Standard Service, December the 5th at 1600 to 2200. We'd like for you to bring your kids, bring your whole family, bring the grandparents, bring your friends, bring everybody that you know out to celebrate something that you have added to the success of. There's going to be food and beverages, fun and games, laughs and smiles. Santa and the Grinch will make an appearance for pictures and memories. You can find the Rockwall Toys for Tots on Facebook and see the success through the campaign. And if anyone is interested in setting up a drop-off location, just ask. If you want to be a sponsor or a donor, again, just ask. As citizens of Fayette and Rockwall County, we are blessed to have such a strong community supporting our military, our veterans, law enforcement, first responders, and most importantly, the growth of our children and tomorrow's leaders. Collectively, we are working together to support Children's Advocacy Center, Lone Star Casa, Women in Need, Helping Hands, and a few others. And our goal is simple: to support our community and instill core values. The city of Fayette, alongside and in conjunction with the surrounding cities that make up Rockwall County, have allowed us to contribute to a 77-long legacy of Toys for Tots, which was established in 1947. So, ladies and gentlemen, today you have honored us with a proclamation that no child goes without on Christmas morning. So thank you, and Semper Fidelis.
And thank you. For the people who are not in the military, you want to repeat the times in regular and civilian time?
That would be 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Whereas during the holiday, the number of families needing assistance increases, and the children of these families are often left out of the holiday festivities simply because their family's financial situation does not allow for gifts. The other holiday tradition that brings joy to children's heart. And whereas acts of kindness, generosity, humanitarianism are the cornerstone of a thriving and harmonious society, and the holiday season is a time when the warmth of a community, the spirit of compassion shines brightest, and individuals and organizations generously support efforts to ensure a happy holiday for those less fortunate than us, especially the children. Ensuring no children fest feels forgotten. And whereas the United States Marine Corps has been bringing the joy of holiday season to children since 1947 with its Toys for Tots program. And over the years, I've grown to a nationally well-known, beloved organization, encompassing over 800 campaigns around the nation. Whereas the Rockwall County Toys for Tots campaign contributes to enhancing the well-being of our nation's most valuable assets, our children. By collaborating with local businesses, community members, local organizations, the Toys for Tots initiative unites Rockwall County community with a singular mission to raise awareness of those in need and ensure that no child goes without on Christmas Day. Whereas marks the kickoff of the 2024 Toys for Tots campaign, now either for David Billings, Mayor of Fayette, Texas, on behalf of the City Council, to proclaim October 1st as Toys for Tots kickoff day in the city of Fayette, Texas. Encourage all citizens to give back and participate in the toy collection and distribution campaign. Cheap, I think Fayette DPS is a drop-off point, and Fayette DPS is a drop-off point from. All right, thank you.
I'll take it and I'll send it to you. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. You are dismissed.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, next, please.
Agenda item 3B, Planning Excellence Recognition Program for 2024 presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Ryan Wells, Director of Planning and Development Services for the City of Fayette. And tonight, I'm pleased to announce that the City of Fayette has been recognized for the second year in a row by the Texas chapter of the American Planning Association for the Richard R. Lilly Planning Excellence Recognition Program, which recognizes municipalities throughout the state that show a level of training for planning commissioners and professional staff, professional qualifications of the planning staff, breadth and currency of master plan components, and completion of other planning-related projects. The goals of this program include increasing community awareness of the importance of planning, recognizing planning departments which meet certain professional requirements, recognizing planning efforts that have achieved community support, encouraging the funding of professional training for planning commissioners and staff, and aiding economic development and community image. The City of Fayette has won this award twice now, 2 consecutive years, and are one of 53 cities across the state and the only city in Rockwall County that has earned this recognition. So I just want to thank you for your continued support of our programs, and happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Okay, no question. Thank you. Congratulations. I would never ask, okay. Next, please. Next, please.
Next item is item 4, public comment. I've received no request to address the council. However, I did receive notice of someone that does not want to speak but is in opposition against agenda item 6D, operational regulations for golf carts. So that will be noted in the minutes.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Next.
So next item will be item 5, consent agenda.
Any question about the consent agenda?
Couple of questions about financial management policy, Michael. On page 6, removing authorization levels for appropriations, is that just because it's redundant?
Say again, sir?
Page 6 of the financial management policy. was referring to the red line where we took out.
Yeah, that is in the purchasing policy.
So that's just redundant, so I took
Yeah,
that out?
yes, sir, yeah.
And then in the purchasing policy, page 5. The purchasing policy.
Yes, sir.
We added the word valid purchase order. What are the criteria for a valid purchase order? Are those listed somewhere that I just missed?
It has to be signed by the company.
And that constitutes valid?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir, yeah.
And
Proper,
then,
yeah, proper amount and proper authorization and proper description of the product or service.
okay, thank you. And then investment policy, page 3, we changed investment officer to the city manager from the director of finance.
Yeah.
Why was that changed?
That is based on my recommendation from the city attorney, Cynthia, and she said that's the way it should be.
Okay.
And the intern city manager delegate to SEM and finance director.
Okay, thank you. No other questions?
Any more questions? All right, I'll take a motion, please.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion, I have a second, please vote. A motion passes 6-1. Mayor Billings voting no. Next, please.
Agenda item 6A, this is an application for approval of a zoning change request from agriculture to neighborhood commercial to allow for a donut shop. First will be the staff summary, followed by applicant presentation, public hearing, and then ultimately action regarding ordinance number O 2024-055.
Hey, Ryan, is the applicant here?
Is the applicant for the zoning change here tonight?
Okay, so we'll do staff
Just wanted to make
summary,
sure, yeah.
public hearing, and the vote. Okay, perfect, thank you.
Very good.
And welcome.
All right, so this is a staff presentation for a zoning change request called Donut. What can I say? The project ID is ZR 24008. So this is a zoning change request from the current zoning of agriculture to neighborhood commercial. The applicant desires to construct a donut shop on this property with a pickup window and other site improvements such as parking and whatnot. Here's an aerial of the location. As you can see, the property is a single lot. It's, again, zoned agriculture. It's approximately 0.16 acres in size, so it's pretty small. And it's a vacant lot other than some trees and a little bit of ponding, as you can see in the image. The approval criteria in the Unified Development Ordinance are listed for zoning requests, and they are as follows. First, whether the request complies with the comprehensive plan and other adopted plans. The future land use plan for this property is designated as dynamic neighborhood, as you can see in the image on the left. Neighborhood commercial is one of the representative zoning districts, basically showing alignment with the future land use plan with the requested zoning district. The proposed use of a donut shop is a small-scale commercial use, which is one of the types of uses that we expect to see in the neighborhood commercial zone. So this does meet the comprehensive plan. The second criterion is whether the request meets the character of the surrounding neighborhood. As you can see in this image, the property is located on the north side of State Highway 66, adjacent to the Family Dollar. The surrounding properties are commercial or vacant lots, and just across the highway from downtown. So there's kind of an existing culture or environment of small-scale commercial development, and so it does meet the character of the surrounding neighborhood with the intended use of a donut shop. And the third criterion, whether there are any other factors required or allowed by Texas law, don't really apply in this case. As a zoning request, we send out public notice to all properties within 200 feet. This resulted in 6 properties receiving a mailed notice as well as a published notice in the local newspaper. As of today, we didn't receive any mailed or written or verbal comments on this request. We ran a brief fiscal analysis because there were a few unknowns related to this project. However, we were able to kind of glean some information sufficient to run the fiscal analysis through our typical model. Based on the information we were able to collect, the total taxable value of this project at completion would be a little over $300,000. There aren't expected to be very many, if any, taxable sales. State Tax Code Section 151.314 exempts baked goods from being taxed. Now, there may be some coffee sales or something like that, but as the main product would be a baked good. We didn't want to break it out. Do you have some comments on that? Okay, I guess if there's some corrections there, that would be great, but we did some research on that, and that was the results that we came up with. So we didn't try to, make up some taxable sales estimates for that. So there's no sales tax revenue being anticipated. Total tax contribution just based on the property tax would be about $600 a year. Net value per acre, because it's such a small property, is about $2.09 million. The revenue to cost ratio, because there's no local infrastructure to support, is 1.6 to 1. So it is a net benefit, even though there's no sales tax associated with that use. Last month, the Planning and Zoning Commission heard this case and recommended approval. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions.
Cody, any questions? Mark? Scott?
So my only question is going to be, because it comes into the site plan, it's at a weird location in the city.
It is.
It's prime traffic. It's going to be in rush hour when we've got a lot of folks driving through town. I'm assuming no TIA has been done, but are they going to at least have to have?
Yeah, they're going to have all the prerequisites for the site plan development, including most likely a TIA. That's generally a city engineer call, but we would support that given the location. We also think that they should try to pursue some sort of access through the Family Dollar, so they have a secondary access, because they're only going to be able to get a maximum of one driveway on their property. And given its short frontage and small size, it is going to be kind of a challenge to develop this site. That shouldn't necessarily be a precursor or a factor in approving as zoning, but yeah, the site planning is going to be difficult.
Okay, thank you.
Alan? Hello, Mark? Mark Conley?
Are donuts baked or fried?
Right. Well, donuts are specifically listed in that tax code section.
Yeah, I
as-
know.
Yeah, yeah.
Try to add some.
Texas
humor
state
to it.
law says that would be a certain.
I'd feel better if they are baked, so
Right, I
I
get
feel
you,
less
yeah.
guilty having them.
All right, Lance, or no question, I have no question, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And since the applicant's not here, I'm going to open the public hearing at 6:17 PM. Anyone for or against a donut shop in the city? Please come up and speak. Seeing none, I close the public hearing at 6:17. Any discussion by council, any more questions? Seeing none, I'll take a motion. Alan, that's where you going with?
Make a motion, we approve ordinance O 2024-055.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion passes randomly, no?
Is it me?
It's Scott. Who hasn't voted yet? I hit 3 times. All right, motion passes 7-0. Next, please.
Okay. Next is 6B. This is an application for a specific use permit to allow for a tattoo studio as part of a condominium commercial strip in the general commercial zoning district. First will be staff summary, second is applicant presentation, third is public hearing, and then ultimately action on ordinance number O 2024-056.
Is the applicant here?
Yes, sir.
I have a legal question.
What's that?
I have a legal question.
Okay.
Did we not hold a public hearing in the last one? In the last
We did hold
SUP?
it. Yeah, we did.
So why we need a second?
This is a different location.
Same location? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Appreciate it. Okay,
I'll
thank you.
explain that. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, so this project is the Sticks and Stones Tattoo Studio specific use permit. Project file ID is SUP 24004. So this is a specific use permit request. As the mayor indicated, this is kind of a familiar project. This is an application to authorize the operation of a tattoo studio within the Glory Center commercial strip development. The site is zoned general commercial, and per Fate UDO Table 4.1-1, which is our land use, allowed land uses table, this requires a specific use permit for this use. So you saw this back, I think, in May as a specific use permit request for a location on the Iron Ranch project. Unfortunately, that lease deal didn't work out. There were some complications. The applicant maybe speak to more detail if she wishes, but it didn't work out, so they needed to find another location. But they want to be in Fate. They like this community. They wanted to, be part of this community. So they, after that deal didn't work out, they looked around, tried to find another location, and this one came up. Unfortunately, because it's a new location, they had to go through this process again. We accommodated them the best we could as far as, supporting them through the process, and we're glad that they were able to put this together. So that's why you're seeing this again, because, by code, we had to run the process again because it's a different location with different noticing area and whatnot. So here's an aerial of the location. Again, this is the Glory Center. It's been here for a long time. It's next to Encounters Church. And this is, interestingly, a condominium commercial development. So each of these suites is either owned or leased separately. So some of the suites are owned by individuals, some are owned by the property owner and leased out suite by suite. There are 14 suites in total. This is proposed suite 1500, which is the northernmost, furthest away from the highway. Again, the property is zoned general commercial, and it's on the North I-30 frontage road, approximately 0.35 miles west of Wood Creek Boulevard. So for a specific use permit, there are a number of approval criteria, and rather than going number by number, we've kind of lumped a few of them together that are kind of similar in nature, and maybe at some point we'll have to go back and clean up our code to make them more concise. Nonetheless, criterion A is whether the project meets the purpose of the zoning district in which it will be located. Again, the base zoning is general commercial, and this use is permitted with a specific use permit. This is a personal service, which is something that is generally supported in the general commercial zone. B is whether the project complements or is compatible with surrounding uses, and E is whether the project is in scale with the existing neighborhood. So this is a suite among a mix of commercial uses for the site. There are a wide variety of commercial uses in the Glory Center. The property is surrounded by commercial uses, served by the highway or vacant land zoned for future commercial uses. So it's a good fit for the location. Criterion C is whether the project adequately mitigates traffic impacts, and criterion F is whether the project mitigates any adverse impacts due to access, parking, service areas, et cetera. We don't anticipate with this use there's going to be a great generation of additional traffic. It's kind of a one-on-one commercial service, and the existing site has adequate parking and circulation to support it. Criterion D is whether the project contributes to, enhances, or promotes the quality of life for residents. This provides a personal service not currently offered in FATE, so people have the opportunity to participate and benefit from the service if they choose. A specific use permit is essentially a zoning case, so we of course send out public notice. Within 200 feet of the subject suite, you can see the map here. There were a number of mailed notices sent out. As of today, we sent 12, as well as published in the newspaper. We didn't receive any responses to the mailed or published notice as of this afternoon. We didn't run a fiscal analysis on this one because the property is located on a TxDOT road. There's no new construction, and it's kind of just filling in a vacant space, so we didn't run those numbers. The Planning and Zoning Commission last month recommended approval of this specific use permit. That concludes my presentation.
I have a quick question for you. So the SUP, the same SUP as we approved last time with the same limitations and conditions, correct?
So what I did this time is the ordinance specifically states that if this suite is vacated by the applicant, then the city council could initiate expiration of the SUP.
Okay.
What we will have to do, should this SUP be approved tonight, we will have to separately initiate expiration of the SUP on the Iron Ranch so that it doesn't sit out there.
And the tattoo, and the limitation on number of shots from FATE is still in the SUP, right?
Well, in this case, this is a specific suite. It's not a whole property.
Okay.
So it would only be that suite, and there's a clause in the ordinance that gives the city council the ability to remove that SUP if it's vacated by the applicant.
I got it. Okay, thank you. Lance, any questions? Or Kelly? John?
So we would need to come back, should this pass, and rescind the one for Iron Ranch?
That's the process that has been advised to me by multiple city attorneys.
Okay.
That's what we would do, and I build in the tool in the language of the ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The applicant, are you present? You'd like to speak, or you don't have to? That requirement. And your name and address, please, and welcome.
Thank you. Madison Owens Wooltridge, 6155 FM 1565, Roy City, Texas. First of all, I just want to thank you all for seeing us, me again. I apologize for my husband's absence. He's sick with our children. But I apologize for the redundancy. As Mr. Ryan said, the Iron Ranch project just really didn't come to fruition. We there were some things that we were unaware of as far as timelines and costs associated with that project. We were supposed to be essentially moving in this month, and it's not built. So, so we had to find another location, and like he said, since the SUP is location-based, we had to reapply and go through the process once more. So otherwise, everything else stays the same,
Okay.
so.
Perfect, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, with public hearing, I open the public hearing at 6:25 PM. Anyone for or against this project, please step forward. Seeing none, I close the public hearing at 6:25. Any more discussion or question from council? Seeing none, I'll take a motion, please.
Make a motion, we approve ordinance 2024-056.
I have a motion, I have a second. I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Please vote. Motion passes 7-0. Next, please.
Agenda item 6C, discuss, consider, and take any necessary action regarding ordinance number O 2024-057, amending Chapter 30 Utilities relating to utility service application and connections to service, and amending the fees and penalties in Appendix A, Municipal Fee and Use Schedule in the Code of Ordinances.
And this is Raju. Welcome tonight.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Mayor and Council, there are two documents in the packet. One is the the code, and the other one is the standard operating procedure. We call it SOP. And a little bit of history. We updated both back in 2011, about 13, 14 years ago. And a lot of things changed since then. Back then, we had only 2,600 utility accounts. Now we have over 9,000 accounts. And also, technology changed considerably. And some of the day-to-day operation we do nowadays a little bit different. We have to do it differently. So we are trying to bring the code and the SOP up to speed. So that's what there are two documents, separate documents.
All right, do you want to quote any questions? Mark?
Hey, Raju, I was looking on here, and that whole section on deposits is marked out like it's gone, and I don't see anywhere on there where it says we issue back deposits to our utilities after a year or anything like that.
Mark, what page are you on?
Well, let's see.
You don't
I am
mind.
on page, stand by. Hang on. It was under, it's in this whole marked out section here. Refund of deposit, page 3,
Okay.
Page 3.
section G, stricken, refund of deposit upon service termination or utility deposit and forfeiture. All those sections have been stricken out, and I don't see any reference in here into how a water utility customer gets their deposit back.
I don't remember everything on top of my head.
Marju, if I could. So part of the change here is we had a lot of kind of technical policies and procedures in code. So what's mostly been stricken out is moved into the policies and procedures, which is also attached. So what our previous city attorney kind of recommended is let's move more technical policies and procedures, like how you refund your deposit, out of code and make it more of a policy that we can change at any time instead of having to go through an ordinance change. So we do have, obviously, still a way to refund the deposits, and we're talking internally about at somebody's 12-month mark, notifying them that they can now receive their deposit back if that's what they choose. So we are working down that road too. So we didn't take away the ability to refund it. We just moved it into policies and procedures out of code, so that we make those changes in the future. It's an act of the city manager, not city council.
It's on the bottom of page 1 of the policies.
Okay. Okay.
You got it?
And we are, but to your point, you are working towards at the 12-month notification system saying, hey, you are now eligible to receive it. Would you like to?
Yeah, because I know we had a lot of deposits that were due back that we did not.
Yeah, we had talked about doing it automatically. So I recently went through getting mine back. I hit my 12 mark. I had it calendared. I knew when it was. But when it happens, what happens is you get your credit likely, depending on how big your bill is, may go negative. If we did that all automatic with no communication on it, it's just gonna ask a lot of questions as to what just happened. So instead, our plan is to notify them that they're eligible to it, and then they can let us know if they'd wanna receive it as a credit or just keep it on and let it pay their last bill.
So is there any way you can continue to notify, like if they missed that for some reason for the first, within 1 month that you put it in there, is there any way you can continue to let them know that it's still available until they remove it?
There's definitely ways to do that. I think that's a conversation we'd have. But
Okay.
this is a good point of why we wanted to make it a policy, not have to bring that back in code every time. So, good question, and we can discuss that for sure.
Hey, Stephen, if you come to the office tomorrow, we are more than happy to process your refund,
I know, where's mine?
deposit refund.
I don't know, I haven't got mine back yet. Scott, any questions? No questions. Mark Conley? Lance?
I do. Who approves this policy? Is that administrative approvals?
The policies and procedures are approved by city manager.
So you at whim can change policies as needed,
Yes, correct.
especially when it comes to deposit refunds?
Yes, but we're going to send out deposits. We're not going to change that today.
So you say today. Okay, second question I have has to do with some of the fees. How many meter test fees do we do a year that are citizens initiated?
Looking at the 2020, 23, 24, we did 6.
Total, and that was
Six total. We actually had 1 meter come back that actually had a failure. The rest were validated.
okay. Do we explain the fee
Yes, we do.
before we do the test?
Yes.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
we give them the option at that point.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, any more, I'm having more questions. So as you, thank you,
Thank you, thank you.
appreciate it. Okay, I'll take a motion, please.
I'll make a motion, we approve ordinance number 0-2024-057.
I'll second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any further discussion by council? Seeing none, please vote. Motion passes 7-0. Next, please.
Agenda item 6D, discuss, consider, and take any necessary action regarding ordinance number O-2024-058, amending ordinance number O-2024-034 relating to the operational regulations for golf carts.
All right, Mr. Downs, we make this quick.
That's your decision. That is your decision. Let me pull a presentation.
That's like the fifth
We're
time.
back again. I know we've discussed this numerous times. I think we've given in your packet enough options to hopefully have one that is suitable for the majority of the city council. So just to get a little background, so prior to the city council adopting any ordinance, which happened July 1, golf carts were only allowed in a very few circumstances. In a master plan community, generally defined as your HOA, on a public or private beach, or during the daytime, and not more than 5 miles from when the golf cart was being parked, if being used to transport to or from the golf course. So prior to the action of the council in July, these were the only circumstances golf carts were allowed by state law. The Fate City Council wanted to expand the options and give available options to residents, so we were directed to prepare an ordinance. The ordinance accomplished further defining golf carts to allow golf carts and off-highway vehicles, except ATVs. Before that, a golf cart was only defined as one that was primarily manufactured for use on a golf course. So the things that many driving aren't technically made for golfing, the city council, through the ordinance, defined golf carts to include all those things that also look like, that are intended, that look like a golf cart, even if they're not intendedly manufactured for that. It also authorized golf carts to be driven on all city roads when posted speed limit is 35 miles per hour or less. So city council adopted ordinances that gave more rights to residents as to how they would use their golf cart. What the ordinance did not go as far to do is to allow golf carts at night, to allow golf carts during inclement weather or times of low visibility. It didn't allow them in fact, it banned them on paths and sidewalks, and it disallowed ATVs, those that are meant for off-roading on public roads. So the ordinance adopted July 1 did not, it added a lot more rights than state law allowed, but it didn't go as far to give them rights at night during the inclement weather. Tonight before the city council, we have 4 options. Last time we met, there was 2, options A and options B. Briefly, option A allows them outside of their master plan community at night but they cannot cross a road greater than 35 miles per hour unless there is a 4-way stop or a traffic light. Option B continues to ban them at night except for in their master plan community. Option C allows them at night, allows them to cross any road, still does not allow them during inclement weather or low visibility. Option D allows them at night, the same manner they're allowed during the day, and it also would allow them, just like other types of vehicles in inclement weather and times of low visibility. And just a note, state law prevents golf carts from driving on roads with speed limits greater than 35 miles per hour, so there's all 4 options ban that.
All right, any more, so we can get this done tonight. Any more discussions?
Mayor, I just do want to bring to your attention, I do have someone that signed up to speak, and I have a few that don't want to speak but want their support for on record.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, seeing no more discussion, I'll take a motion, please.
Mayor, I do have someone that wants to speak.
Oh, I'm
Did
sorry.
you want to allow them to speak?
Yes, but we got to remember, okay, go ahead. Who wants to speak?
Stephanie Estrada, address 228 Oxford Drive.
Welcome, thank you.
Hi, thank you. I'll make it really quick. I know I was here at the last meeting. I just wanted to bring up a few things. We're in favor, obviously, of being able to drive at night, cross the roads and things like that. One thing I wanted to specify is in our neighborhood, Chamberlain Crossing, we're kind of like 3 different islands, okay? So we're blocked off by Greenbrier as well as Blackland. So we have a section of our neighborhood that doesn't have access to the swimming pool or the park or the amenity center if those rules apply that they can't cross at night. So if our pool closes at 10 o'clock at night and somebody lives in that section, they wouldn't be able to stay until the pool closed. But other things that I wanted to bring up was just, I mean, I know safety was a big thing. We don't want to be over-regulated either. I mean, if a kid who's 14 is on a skateboard and wants to cross over 551, nobody's going to stop them. So if you have to have a driver's license to drive a golf cart, why do we put so many restrictions on that if the other option would be okay? So I just wanted to say that. Any questions for me?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for speaking, appreciate it. Okay, I will take a motion, please.
I make a motion, we approve ordinance number 0-2024-034, option D.
I have a motion, option. Can you have a second, Scott? All right, any more discussion on this? Seeing none, please vote. And we did it again. Over. All right. Okay, motion passes 6-1 with Councilman Hatley voting no. Next, please.
Agenda item 6E, discussion regarding speed limits in downtown Fayette neighborhood.
Who has this? Stephen, that's yours again?
It's me again, give me just a second, I'll pull up that presentation.
Yeah, really. Just kept on going.
Okay, Mayor, Council, this is a pretty brief presentation. We had a discussion last meeting, and we were asked to bring forward kind of a cost estimate if we were to change the speed limits specifically in our downtown from 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour. If you'll remember, that's the option that bypasses the need to do a traffic study. That would be triggered if we went to 20 miles per hour. So we went through our downtown grid, looked at the streets that we would determine that it would be impacted to have speed limits of 25 miles per hour. The approximate cost of that is about $9,000. That's for the poles, the signs, and the labor to install those signs. You'll see the roads that are not marked in yellow is State Highway 551. Us making that change, we would have to work through TxDOT to do that. So we are currently just showing you city-owned and maintained roads and a cost of about $9,000 if we were to do that. If that's the direction the city council would like to go, we would bring forward an ordinance to do so.
So tonight you just need
This is just
direction.
for your direction as to how you'd like us
All
to
right.
proceed.
Lance, any questions?
The only question that I would have, would this extend into that little area of Lafayette Crossing?
I mean,
Currently, it's not there,
Yeah.
but when it gets built out, there should be a road connection there.
yep. So by default, it would go to 30 miles per hour. We'd have to make the ordinance for 25. We did not have that discussion. That hadn't been contemplated.
Right,
Michael, did you have
but
some
we
thoughts?
could, that the nature of that's going to be kind of smaller, single-family lot stuff. So it would go well with this as well. 25 would work well, so we could extend that. Once Lafayette comes in, we could designate their roads for 25 as well, certain ones,
Yeah, through the residential area.
the residential ones.
Okay.
So obviously the cost would go up. We would add those those come online.
Okay, Mark Hadley?
I've driven through downtown, especially recently when this came up. I mean, how easy is it to get to 30 miles an hour with that stop sign there? You're constantly slowing down to get to it, and then you're speeding up. By the time you've made it to it, I mean, the speed limit's gone up, back up to 45 or 50. So is it, I mean, I'd like to see people go slow through there.
Yeah.
It appears to me they may already be going there. Is this something this might be a solution that's looking for a problem?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think Chief has run some numbers on kind of our urban SDK model, which we showed you, and I don't think we're having speeds exceed that 25 mile per hour. Now, as the downtown continues to see more activity in Lafayette Crossing, we may have more cars coming through there. But based on the stop signs, I mean, I think you make a good point that it's probably challenging to do it. But we may have a lot more people frequenting downtown than did as some of these commercial developments come in. So it could go either way. We don't currently have signs.
I mean, I'd like to see sidewalks over there where the food hall is. Obviously, we're probably not going to get those until they develop that and have it a little bit more walkable. But I don't know. I mean, if it's necessary now, future maybe, definitely. But just my input.
Good point.
Alan?
How much is a traffic study?
I
didn't see that information in the packet.
Yeah, when we were looking at our last meeting, we were looking at the 20 mile per hour option. This one, we weren't looking at it.
Well, I asked
Scott, do you
for,
remember Kimley Horns?
They didn't have a breakdown for this size.
Yeah, that's true. That was citywide. We were looking at 10 to 15,000. That was citywide. So we don't, if we were to want to go to 20 miles per hour, we would need to do it here, yeah.
so citywide is $10,000 to $15,000 for
Yep.
a traffic study, or for the, and so what would it take to put 15 miles an hour in this area?
I don't think, so state law speaks about the process to go to
Yeah,
20.
we-
It doesn't speak to going to 15.
Can't get to 15 if it'll be way too slow.
So the state would come back and say that 15 miles an hour is too slow?
We don't have the authority.
Yeah,
State law is.
Outstanding.
that's something I'd have to
Thank you,
look at
Austin.
further.
I was just thinking about, I brought up the idea of 15 miles an hour through here and what that speed study would cost, just because we're trying to, as the downtown area develops, we're going to have more distributed parking around the different commercial areas and the ability to walk. I was thinking that 15 miles an hour would be appropriate for that, but if state law says we can't do that, then I'll just sit here and sulk.
Got it. Any input?
Yeah, on a lot of these streets, it is harder to get up to 30, but if you hang out on Brown or on CB Davidson at all, you'll see people, especially during traffic times, treat it more like a speedway than appropriate for what it is. The only street I would make a comment on that I think 25 would be wrong for would be Black Oak east of Crawford, where it's a new concrete road that's a little bit wider that's supporting the apartments and future businesses that way. That is the only suggestion that I would put out there to leave it 30.
Is that feasible, Stephen, to make one road 30 and the rest 25, Chief?
If
Is
we
it
were to go-
feasible to have one road, Black Oak 30, and the rest 25? Huh?
It wouldn't affect anything.
Okay, thanks. More comment?
Yeah, I did receive some feedback from citizens, and it's not necessarily the main street through downtown that's the problem. It's like Scott said, it's Brown Avenue. A couple people have had their dogs run over for people cutting through. And so definitely in support of maybe low end those to 25.
Cody? All right, so I think if you got the 25, I think we bring it back, and then I think Mark's kind of against it, Alan wants 15, but as long as state law to support that. So let's do 25, and we can go from there.
Just to clarify, if we do a speed study and it comes back that 15's too low, means we
15 is not, we don't have no name on the list.
Yeah,
They should
we would
15.
not be allowed to do
Yeah,
that.
they won't,
not
the
allowed to
state
do
law
that.
won't let us go to 15. We can go to 20 with a speed study.
I would be
Even
against
on
20.
these little bar ditch things out here, when we start getting sidewalks in and stuff, they wouldn't let us do 15?
No, the state, we'd have
We
to
don't-
change the state law.
We
the
don't even
legislature
have
has to change
15-mile-an-hours in our school zones.
We don't have any 15 anywhere in this, kind of in
All
the
right,
state. We're not allowed to.
I just wanted to put that out there, so.
I just, not allowed to. All right, let's do 25, and then as we develop Lafayette Crossing, we can change it. Except for Black Oak, I think there's a suggestion for 30, if we can leave it there.
Yeah, just east of Crawford, right?
Just either
Toward
Crawford
George.
side?
There's a
Okay.
frontage road. And,
Chief's good with that?
Given the turnaround for next meeting, this may be something that's in the
That's fine.
November meeting.
That's fine. I got it. All right, thank you.
Can the Lafayette Crossing stuff be put into the ordinance going
Well,
forward?
it's going to, I would wait until we go through the development processes, and when they build the road, at that time, we'll have 25. Steve, that's what you said, right?
Yeah, noted that that's the
He's right,
direction we'd like
exactly. You know where the streets, how wide they are, but I think keep in mind, when that starts happening, we have to keep in mind the speed limits. The council is sensitive to
We'll
that.
plan, Michael, you're okay with that? We'll plan
Good,
for
good
25 unless something were to suggest otherwise.
Okay, good, perfect.
25 is kind of
Okay. Sure. All right. Okay, good, thank you. Next one, please.
Okay. Agenda item 6F, consider approval of resolution number R 2024-082, adopting the legislative program.
All right, so we didn't bring any help for this one or have a presentation, but we wanted to talk about the legislative program as much as y'all would like to, or not, so.
So this is basically what allows us to do is when legislation, so just education real quick. So the pre-filing period is November 2024, mid-November. The bills will be filed and we'll start to see what's being filed by the state. The interim hearings, recommendations will come out probably 2 or 3 weeks. The biggest part of that is look at the recommendation section. That's what will come a bill. And also look at the governor's priorities and the lieutenant governor priority. That will also become bills. And then lieutenant governor will be SB2 and on. Anything for the governor is probably at HB2. And what this just allows us to do as the bills are filed, we can look at them and then we can oppose or support them. And that's why we don't have specific language, because no bills have been filed. But it gives us a chance to go down to Austin and represent the city. As we get more bills filed, they'll start happening really soon. The activity will pick up. So that's just why we want tonight for you to approve. And then as the recommendations come out, then we'll get more ideas on what's next. Any questions? All right.
Couple of comments as it relates to some of the items in this list. It's probably more as a process of how the list was put together, because before the agenda came out on Thursday, I had not seen anything along these lines. So a number of these I just can't support at all. Things like the city taking a stance on school vouchers. That's not our lane. That's a school district issue.
Where does that say that in here?
I'm sorry?
Where does that say that
It
in here?
says it on the second
Page
page
2,
on items that we'll support.
near the
or
end.
support.
Adequate state funding for public, it's the fourth bullet from the bottom.
Okay, I
Would
think.
you like us to remove that one, or you
Yes,
want
let's-
to talk
no,
about
let's-
that?
No, let's
Yeah.
so just if you don't mind real quick, and that's that. So here's what we're gonna do on that one. We stick to city-related issues. We're not sticking to social issues, and we're not gonna do any school issues. As individual council members, go for it. That's up to you. But as a council, we're not gonna introduce only city-related issues. But we have enough of those to fight in Austin without adding complexity. So I agree with this guy, we can remove it. Okay.
So, but that comes down to some of the mud issues as it relates to comments relating to impact fees. For
You don't want to
schools,
defend them?
Roads, I'm sorry?
You don't wanna defend them?
Not for schools.
No.
Impact fees, the way I'm reading that is impact fees that school districts receive.
No, this is impact fee for cities. This is
Okay,
what we're
that's fine.
fighting for, yeah.
Efforts to.
Hit a
what
sec,
was it?
real quick. Michael, can we make sure that's in there, so when we do impact fees, we're talking about the city impact fees that we charge the developer, and we want, and permit fee that we want to defend? Okay, I'm sorry.
You know, just strike anything related to schools.
Yeah, and then with school vouchers, and just take it out. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. If you want to do it individually,
The
please go ahead.
county's seeking legislative authority to do an impact fee for schools.
That's a county issue, not a city council issue.
Okay. So we're not going to support that.
And we're not,
We-
that's
we-
what
I want to support protecting our ability to charge impact fees, but other people's rights.
Don't
we need to
help
stay
the
in
county.
lane.
Let's keep the,
Don't help the county with that.
yeah, let's keep the school fees, let's get the school stuff out. Good, good. Is that next?
Other comments related to.
What page are you
this
on
is-
again?
I'm sorry,
What page are you on again?
the third page, or the last page. 5.
Okay, got it, thank you.
Where did it go? Hello. As it relates to institutional investment of homes, and this is gonna be a weird stance, but I've got concerns on us as a city lobbying for or against who can own individual properties. My concerns come from, I want to do everything we can do to limit or to dissuade rentals of single-family properties. But as it relates to commercial or institutional investment of homes, you start impacting people's property rights and
Okay.
ability to sell.
So-
And when I sell my house, I don't care if I'm selling it to an individual or to a company. I'm going to sell it to whoever
Okay,
offers me the most
so
money.
let's leave this in here for now, because I think what the state is struggling with is a definition of that. So when you go to state hearings in Austin, they wrestle with that question, right? I agree with you 100%. But if they buy, I think what they're gonna end up doing, they'll put, if an institutional investor is not an LLC, because that could be, a lot of people have LLCs and individual LLCs, right? It's gonna be an individual investor will buy X number of houses or more. I think that's where the state's gonna end up at. So we don't want somebody walking Chamberlain Crossing and buying 30 houses. Like BlackRock walking in and buying 30 houses. That's the intent of that, so. yeah.
I understand what the intent is, and at the end of the day, what I don't want to do is take away the rights of any homeowner to sell
Okay.
their house for.
Okay, is that your last one?
That's the last one I have.
Okay, Mark, you have a question on it?
I agree with that one. I agree with taking that one out as well. I mean, there is not, we should not be able to tell people whose home they should be able to sell to.
But remember, you're also one that make public comments against your investors buying 30 homes
I
at
don't
Chamberlain
like it,
Crossing.
but I also, if I want to sell my house for $30,000 over asking price to an investor, then that's,
Okay.
I should be a right.
Got it, any more questions?
Here's the question. I mean, nobody's saying you can't sell to an investor. It's whether or not they'll buy it with
No.
a restriction on it.
They're gonna, I think, forbid them, be my personal guess.
On there. I mean, it's just one option. I mean, that's what they may do, but nobody's saying you can't sell to an investor, just whether or not the investor will buy it if there's a.
I think,
What
If there's
we're
certain,
saying is our legislative agenda is, with that in there.
I'm okay with
Our legislative agenda is to encourage the state to ban institutional investment of private houses.
I agree with Scott, just take it out. Because they can't define it anyway, that Marion was really weird, they were all over the place with it, they couldn't define it to anybody, and they really struggled with property rights, so I think we just take it out and fight. Plenty of other battles of fighting us in this
you
session.
know, and it's just whether or not, they can put a restriction on, what the requirements are to actually rent it out. So.
Alan?
Yeah, I've got, in regards to the institutional investors, I'm very, very hesitant to allow Austin to come in and dictate anything to cities at this point. And I just think that that's just a slippery slope, inviting, I mean, I've got no problem controlling single-family home rentals by using free market economy, free market on that. But coming in and we're asking them to leave us alone on some things and asking them to come in and help us on others. I just think they should leave us alone altogether.
Okay, okay.
And then the last thing would be the.
Page 5, are you on page 5?
I'm sorry?
Are you on page 5?
On page 5, yes. The prohibit secondary mud debt issuance. That's not our business, that's the mud board's business. I think if we, as long as we get our residents on the mud board, they can make that decision for their mud district.
So here's why we did that, right? Because in the end of the day, it's a taxing authority, it's in our city. We're not supposed to put our citizens on mud boards. We got 1 or 2 on there and nothing changes. So the state is after the following: having one person in a non-regulated election, no county, no judge, no poll workers, no auditing, no nothing, authorizing $3 billion of debt, which is to happen, and then turn around and author another $2 billion, or after that, a couple of months later, we have the board as pointed by the developer. What we're arguing about MUD 1 is it's so far down the line, but they've issued secondary debt already.
Mud One has?
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, and that's extended the taxes for citizens by 10 years.
Correct, but there
So-
was, I think the original problem with our MUDs in the city of Fate is a lack of local representation. And I've tried a lot to try and get.
Well, I agree, you tried, I mean, just
Yeah,
saying. we
And
didn't have it.
I thought I had a good slate of people, and they just never materialized. Now, I think we can keep pushing on that button, but I think that eliminating their
All
ability
right, so
to.
let me do this. I think we have agreement to take the school stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have agreement on removing institutional investors. I do not agree with taking secondary debt out. I think we can fight for that. Any questions, any
Well,
objective?
I mean, the way the law is written right now, we don't have any say over what the MUDs do.
That we're gonna change the law. There are a lot of mud changes coming in the law this session. We went
Yeah,
transparency.
and I look outside of what that does to other
Let me-
communities
Let me get in front
outside of us, you know.
I get it.
Okay.
Lance, are you want in or out the secondary debt?
I want it in.
Hatley,
I do. I mean,
Scott? I know. Huh?
I don't want it in.
Okay. All right, we'll take that one out too. Just remember, you guys are gonna increase the debt on local citizens a lot by billions and billions, so and there's gonna be fight anyway without
But
us.
that's also a stick that we can use to try
I'm
and
good.
encourage people to get on the board and say no to that stuff too.
They're not gonna get 5 people on the board.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, you know, there are places in the state that are just simple MUDs, like the Woodlands.
I agree.
And they issue
But-
secondary debt every other year
But
to
not
fund their city.
City mud. There's a difference between the city mud. Okay,
I mean,
the way
let me
the way
back
the-
up.
let's move on.
I was gonna say, the way the current MUDs are working, to get a citizen on a MUD board is near impossible.
It's real simple. All they do is file.
But they haven't,
Well, we've not been able to, it took us how many years to get that even dealt with,
Well,
right?
I think once I understood how it works, I think now that we're trying to get citizens on the boards, that's just, no one signed up to be on the board.
I get it.
I mean,
We-
the
let me
campaign,
say- let me say
the
we haven't-
campaign slogan's easy. I live here, you don't, you know? That's the campaign slogan, but.
We haven't said we haven't tried, we just hasn't been successful. But let's just move on because we
Yeah.
got the changes people want made, so. Michael, you got those?
Yes, if we can include those in the motion,
Yes.
just delete the school items, the institutional investors, single-family discussion, and the MUD secondary debt.
All right, I'll take a motion, please.
I'm sorry, I just got another comment. I just, because of the depth of the list, the importance of having the right messaging and support in Austin, and the fact that the first time as a council person that I saw this list was tonight, it's not that I agree or disagree with some of the items on this list. My concern is the amount of timing. We're putting teeth behind it with a proclamation, with a resolution. I just haven't had enough time to think about it, and there may be more that we need to add, there may be less. I just can't support something that was really kind of, I don't know who put the list together. Exactly.
This is my list, yeah, my list, and then I've shared it with the mayor.
I'm not supporting this because I believe as a council, we need more time to think about these items and to discuss if we want to add more to it or take less off of it. So it's not that I don't think any of these issues aren't important, but because of the timing of it and just
But you
the
had
lack of
this
total input to be able to add or take away, I'm not supporting.
But you had a sense, the council had this since Thursday, so, right?
Thursday,
Okay,
that's
okay,
3
okay.
days ago.
I thought you said
and,
today, I'm sorry,
yeah,
I apologize, okay.
The ability to add to this after Thursday wasn't there.
We can add all day on a Thursday, yeah, right now if you want to, or we can bring it back later, but the process is well down the road. And we can do individually, which is great, that's fine, but this is down the road. They're way down the road on this one, it's a little late this year, but.
The state's down the road. We as a city putting this together is not down the road.
Okay,
I'd like to see a little bit more structure to it. It just seems like there's two different areas with things talking about MUDs, and I'd just like to see it a little bit more consolidated. This is how we feel about MUDs, this is how we feel about this, that, and the other.
but besides mud transparency, we don't want anything, we want mud, this is, okay, I understand. Michael, we'll just take the input and come back and do it again,
Sure, maybe first meeting in November?
that's fine. You might as well make it the second meeting in November, that way we know what bills have been filed,
Okay,
honestly.
yeah.
If they file the bill they think they're gonna file, and then the council will decide how much power we really wanna hold in local government versus how much we're gonna give the state, how much debt we want the state to authorize or the developer authorize versus on the citizens. So let's just do the second one, and we know what we're dealing with. Make sense? Yeah. All right. Second one, Vicki, the second meeting in November is when?
November 18th.
18th. Everybody go with that? Okay. Next, please.
Next will be agenda item 6G, discuss, consider, and take any necessary action regarding resolution number R 2024-083, determining the necessity of acquiring real property for construction of Miss May Drive expansion
All
project.
right, so in this one, we're going to do, at the vice city count of the city attorney, we're going to move this, we're going to move this to, or postpone the item to November 11th meeting on vice of the city attorney. I'll take a motion, please, to do that.
Did you say November the 11th?
11th, yeah.
All right, I make a motion that we postpone this to November 11th.
Second.
All right, any more discussion on why we're doing this? Great, please vote. First you told me not to push it hard, then we have to push it hard. All right, motion passes 7-0. Next, please.
Agenda item 6H, discuss, consider, and take any necessary action regarding the petition for release of an area from a municipality's extraterritorial jurisdiction, also known as ETJ, filed by
Yeah.
Century Property Acquisition.
So we're gonna do this one, we're gonna, with the council, we're gonna move the executive session under item 8C. Any objections? Seeing, next, Vicki, please.
Item 7, mayor, council, and city manager report.
Lance, you wanna start?
I'd like to thank all the city staff for the great Celebrate Fate turnout. It was pretty good. Lots of people showed up. It wasn't excessively hot, but I mean, I thought it went really well. Thank you all.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
I'd like to second that on Celebrate Faith and thank the city staff and the DPS and everybody for doing, and the vendors, everybody participated for doing a great job. I saw people came up and complimented it and said everybody did wonderful. So I'd like to say thank you to that. And as always, an extra thank you to the Fate DPS and fire. I watched them, I don't know if the person overheated or not, but he was grateful to see the fire and the police department out there doing their usual wonderful job. So I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you.
Alan?
Thank you for Celebrate Fate and everything that your people did. A lot of people came from a lot of different departments and wore a lot of different hats, and it's an all hands on deck. Thank you to our sponsors who made it possible. Thank you to our vendors and our food people. It was just a great event, and the fireworks were outstanding as usual. Thank you, Scott, to you and your crew for the quick response on Friday night. It was a random, strange event that caused that, and you all jumped on it and got the water back on exceptionally fast. Thank you, DPS, for helping us with all those things as well. You all show up for it all, and it's much appreciated.
Scott?
Scott Monahan, your team, great job Friday night. That kind of popped up out of the blue, and to be able to turn that around as quickly as was done, and avoid what could have been probably a pretty dire situation. Super props to your team. Please relay that to everybody. Obviously, the response from the community, there were a lot of concerns about what was going on at first. But to have the appropriate updates online, to put the information out there, and to respond to it as quickly as possible is just a testament to the team. And outside of a few idiotic comments on Facebook that were made for agendas as opposed to real concerns, the response I saw from the community after everything was resolved has been overly positive too. So thank you all to the entire city staff who worked hard and diligently to create a great event for City of Fate. Again, thanks to everybody on that. I've not heard anything negative from anybody. I also want to take a moment to thank all of the sponsors of that, all of the people that came out to
to have booths to try and sell the various things to all our food vendors, and to everybody outside the city that came in to help put together a great event. Thank you.
Mark Harper.
Yes, Scott, I want to say thank you again, just like everyone else, for their fast response. Thank you for keeping our drinking water safe and knowing how to take care of that for us. And again, everyone else in the city who jumped on that emergency and got it well taken care of. I know we had several texts going back and forth, but I appreciate that. Celebrate Fate, appreciate the staff and everything they did for that as well. All the vendors for coming and making it a successful again. Can't wait for next year. Hopefully it'll be a little cooler next year. We'll see. Hopefully we'll have a fake fall by the time it's time for Celebrate Fate. And thank you, DPS, for everything you do as well.
Cody.
Just wanted to remind the public that today is the last day to register to vote for the presidential election. So if you have not done so already and you plan on participating, to register.
I think it passed, but okay. All right, so a couple of things real quick. Scott, fantastic job. You guys, quick action. All the feedback I got was, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Scott, back to you. Great job. You guys responded quickly. I know I got a bunch of texts, so council did. You guys jumped into action quickly, resolved it fast. I got tons of positive comments on that. Most of the citizens supported. They just went their water back, and I think it illustrates how great a team we really have in this city. And people who I think who don't understand have a tendency of just saying we didn't do a good job. But if you understand how this really works, you understand we jumped in. And thank you to the staff for the root cause analysis we're about to do and the improvement process we're going to put in place. Because every incident has learnings, and a well-functioning organization or high-performing organizations take learnings and they adapt and learn and make it better. And that's what we're going to do, and I'm thankful for that. Chief, Scott, team, Steve, everybody out there, great job on Celebrate Fate. To our sponsors, thank you for coming. Thanks for the holes. Make sure you step in the holes, which is public safety is really important. And Chief, thanks for the DPS presence there and all the great work that you have done. And Rockwall EMS for being there with us and all the sponsors, as Scott said. I do appreciate all that. Michael.
Sir, the MDD will meet tomorrow night at 6 p.m. here at City Hall. And then the P&Z will meet Thursday at 6 p.m., which is a little off their regular time, but here at City Hall. And then the 14th, which is next Monday, is the next council meeting. It's off because of the setup required for the early voting for the election. So we will not have a October 21st meeting, but we will have a meeting next week on the 14th.
All right, perfect. Vicki, next, please.
Agenda item 8, executive session. In accordance with Texas Government Code, section 551.001, the city council will recess into executive session, closed meeting to discuss the following. A, in accordance with Texas Government Code, section 551.071, consultation with attorney. Number 1, Chapter 43, Texas Local Government Code Development Agreements for Rockwall CAD Property IDs 11195, 11227, 83532, and 83531, and annexation law. And 2, Senate Bill 2038, and agenda item 6H, which is the petition for release from the extraterritorial jurisdiction filed by Century Property Acquisitions, Collin County CADs 1287468, 1287477, and 1281730 on September 18th, 2024.
All right, I'll take an executive session at 7:09. Thank you, appreciate it. All right, I'll take us out of executive session at 7:44. Next, please.
No action will be taken on agenda item 8A1, but action for agenda item 8A2.
Okay,
Is that the motion?
yeah, sure.
I move that the petition for release of an area from the municipality's extraterritorial jurisdiction submitted by Century Property Acquisitions LLC, Series C, be denied because Senate Bill 2038 is an unconstitutional delegation of legislative authority, and it conflicts with the city's grant of discretionary legislative authority in Local Government Code, Section 42.023. The city does not consent to the reduction of its ETJ.
I have a motion, I have a second?
Second.
Second. Mark Harper? Any more discussion? Please vote. Motion passes 6-1 with Mayor Billings voting no. Next, please.
Agenda item 10, adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Vote. You abstain? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, appreciate it.